This video provides an overview of the seed cleaning process we use at Wild Garden Seed for most of our dry seeded crops. We use the process on all scales from individual plants up to 500 pounds of seed or so. The key is to alternate screening and winnowing steps. It's difficult to winnow accurately when there's too much large debris. It's equally difficult to screen when there's too much dust or leafy chaff. The first step is to get the seed free of the plant. Typically, we lay the plants out to dry for at least a week, then use our feet, our threshing sticks, or our truck tires. Most plants need to be crushed, some need to be shaken or hit with a stick, and a few require a rubbing motion or something more specialized. Next, we remove the plant bodies and large debris, usually with a rake or with the basket screens. We call them box screens. And then, it's important to get as much dust out as possible. Find a breezy spot, blow out the dust, taking care not to lose smaller seeds, lighter seeds like lettuce. And once we've got the dust out, we'll usually shake it through a slightly smaller screen. We use actually these propagation trays that have 3/16 inch holes. We call them black screens. They're cheap, they're effective. And if you can do that in a light wind as well, you'll blow out even more dust. And at this point, it's usually about half seed by volume, and that's where we'll bring it in from the field, make sure it's dry, below about 40% humidity, and then pack it away in bins until we have time to clean it more thoroughly. The first step of seed cleaning, once we open those bins again, is to do a rough winnow in a steady wind. This is more precise than the field winnow, but not yet at the stage of winnowing away light seed or being super accurate. The winnow wizard is ideal, but because we're not being super accurate, a fan or outdoor breeze will work as well. The goal is to remove most of the small chaff, the leafy material, and any remaining dust. If you're using the winnow wizard, set the feed slot fairly wide so that all the chaff can pass. Open the hopper gate halfway or more. Set the divider conservatively so you're not losing any good seed. And if you have a hopper agitator, set it to spinning, because often the sticks and chaff keep material from flowing easily through there. Then it's time to find the magic screen, is what I call it. The industry actually calls this scalping, which is a term that I hate. But for each variety, there's one particular screen that's just large enough to quickly pass all of the seed. For lettuce, for example, it's a 1/26 inch slot. If you don't have the particular magic screen for your crop, you can use the next common size larger, a 1/16 and 1/8, though the results will not be quite as good. And for seeds with a wide range of sizes, we often use a series of screen sizes to break the seed into multiple size lots that are easier to winnow and easier for customers to handle and plant. At this point, your seed should look pretty clean. There'll still be some heavier chaff and sticks, and some of the seed will be hollow and immature. But now it's time for the final winnow. And the final winnow is a precise density separation, removing everything lighter than a mature, fully filled seed. It's very important now to have an even flow of air. A winnow wizard makes this easy, but if you don't have one, you can winnow behind a fan. This is a method that Frank came up with and perfected. Create a wind tunnel behind a fan, you get much more even airflow than in front. Or you can winnow in an open doorway of a building like a greenhouse that has an exhaust or an intake fan running at the other end, so it's an even airflow past you. If you have a winnow wizard, set the feed slot as small as possible to accommodate the seed, and then set the hopper feed rate so the seed just barely spreads across the feed tray. You want as close to a single layer of seed falling as possible. Then set the divider as far forward as possible without losing good seed. And as you're winnowing, keep an eye on what's falling behind the divider. You can crush seeds with your fingers or with a hammer and make sure that what's winnowing out is actually hollow or immature. And then for increased accuracy, you can repeat the final winnow several times to blow out a little more light seed, or if your seed is precious and you think you're blowing out good seed, you can recover some of the seed from the light fraction. Go back and forth as many times as you want until you have the divide right where you want it. With most kinds of seed, once you do the final winnow, they'll be 99.9% clean. And most home gardeners and seed savers will be able to stop there. But if you're going for maximum purity, getting out everything possible, there's usually a few polishing steps that can deal with the remaining problems. There are bottom screens, which the industry calls sifting, smaller than the seed. If you've got small weed seed in there like pigweed or little clods of dirt or undersized seeds, you can get those out. Sometimes we'll use particular screens to remove remaining sticks or repeat the magic screen another time. There's even triangle screens to remove, say, triangular contaminants like buckwheat. If there's rocks or dirt that are heavier than the seed, sometimes we'll overwinnow, that is, blow the seed out of the dirt, out of the rocks. And if we have dirt that's the same density as the seed, I've developed this magnetic separator for the Winnow Wizard that, as long as your dirt has enough iron in it, will pull the dirt out of the seed. And occasionally, with some lighter and odd-shaped seeds like calendula, there's actually no other option than to pick out a few remaining sticks or whatever we can't get out of there. So that's the overall process, and most of the other videos that will be added here will show how we apply this process to particular types of seed.